Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing well and having a fantastic week. In today's video, we are doing a series with my good friend Dr. Jason Crean, where we are debunking parrot food myths and answering some of the most commonly asked parrot nutrition questions. So really excited to dive in. There's going to be lots of videos like this, so make sure you are subscribed so you don't miss any of them. But Jason, for anyone who's unfamiliar with you, would you mind just introducing yourself for everyone?
Sure. My name's Jason Crean. I am an aviculturist. I've had birds since I was 12, and that was a very, very long time ago. And I have been interested in animal nutrition so much so that that's really what drove me to become a biologist. I currently teach biology topics at the university level. I teach courses in animal nutrition, zoo biology, evolutionary biology, to name a few. And I love talking about bird food.
Awesome. Well, with that in mind, let's dive straight in. So let's talk about a couple of specifics because two of the things that I see all the time that people say are terrible, never feed them, they're toxic, all that kind of stuff are tomatoes and citrus fruits. People really demonize those. And I think it's about time that we set the record straight with these things, Jason.
Yes. And once again, a very quick Google search can show you an immense amount of information very, very plainly. Acidity, like I think people hear the word acid and they immediately think it needs to be avoided. But the acidity in produce, fruits, mainly fruits, does not need to be avoided. It's not going to cause any problems. Once again, nothing should form the predominant part of the diet. So if your bird's getting a ton of oranges all day, which I'm sure most people aren't doing or wouldn't even think of doing, that's problematic. But I mean, a little bit of citrus here, a piece of tomato here is not in any way dangerous. Now, tomatoes are part of the nightshade family, so the green parts of tomatoes should be avoided, mainly the stems, leaves of the plant. But generally, we don't have access to those. We just have the fruit, and the fruit is truly a fruit. Tomatoes are a fruit, and those are totally fine to be consumed. To compare, and citrus is loaded with bioflavonoids, like even the tough white stuff under the peel and between the slices, like that's loaded with bioflavonoids. So there's lots of benefits to giving them peel and fruit and flesh. So all of that is beneficial. But when you look at the comparative, pH, the lower the number, the more acidic it is. And it's a 14-point scale. 7 is neutral. And so when you look at something like tomatoes, tomatoes here on my list show that they're 4.6 on average pH. When you compare that to something like oranges, um, generally oranges are around 4 as well. So very similar acidity. But if you're worried about them being too acidic, I see lots of people offering apples, for example. Apples are actually more acidic than citrus fruits are. Most apples are in the 3 range, 3.3 to 3.9, somewhere around there for most apples. Even things like apricots are below a 4, so they're considered more acidic. Peaches are more acidic. So a lot of the fruits that we're feeding are much more acidic than even citrus and tomatoes. So I think, that you got to take it with a grain of salt, as far as, bananas are pretty much the same acidity as tomatoes, for example, 4.8 on average. So, we need to stop fearing food, like Dr. Karen Becker says, right? That's really the problem here. And use a little bit of common sense, and you can definitely do a little homework, and you'll realize there's a lot more you can feed your bird than you thought.
Definitely. And I'll leave the ultimate kind of safe and toxic food list down in the description that we both use for kind of searching what is worth offering and what parts of the actual plant are safe to offer as well. And I think something that's super important and something that we've been doing for quite a long time now is just understanding what food you're actually putting into your bird's body, understanding what vitamins and minerals and things are actually in these, veggies and fruits and all kinds of things like that, because you may even improve your own diet and things like that. And I think one of the things that people fear, especially with citrus, is natural sugars. And whilst we don't want to be feeding a whole bowl of fruit to parrots, unless you obviously have things like, lorikeets and stuff who have like a higher sugar diet with the nectar, but most people don't have those. We're talking about your typical parrot species. We don't want to be fearing natural sugars in fruit, but we do want to be moderating them, don't we?
Yeah. I mean, too much of any one thing is dangerous. So any healthy food can become unhealthy when it's fed in large quantities. So, if you think about your bird's crop and you think about the size, one grape may be more than enough, for that day. It doesn't need two or three grapes, doesn't need four or five grapes. One grape may be great, but grapes are like hugely nutritious. In the skin and everything, there's huge benefits. But I think people zero in on sugar, or they've heard from someone, or they read a comment somewhere on social media that sugar is the devil, and they don't really truly understand like what the body does with those natural sugars. Now, should you be feeding sucrose, which is table sugar? And if you read your labels on some pellets, you'll see that that's there. No, there's no place in the diet for table sugar, but those natural sugars in fruits are totally fine, and as long as you're not feeding it as the predominant part of the diet, right? So just vary it, keep it varied. If you're really concerned about sugar, there's lots of low carb fruits out there that are totally available. Red strawberries a great one. People that are on low carb diets trying to lose weight often go to strawberries because they're a great flavor, and there's lots of fiber in them, and lots of other benefits. But you can always feed lower sugar fruits too, but do not for any reason remove fruits from the diet. There's way too much nutrition that they'll be missing out on.
Absolutely. So there you go, guys. Myth debunked. Tomatoes and citrus fruits are safe to include in your parrot's diet, and we highly recommend doing that as part of a lot of diversity as well. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Jason, where can people find out more about you and what you're up to at the moment?
So I have social media channels, Dr. Jason Crean on Instagram, which is Dr. Jason Crean, Crean, on Instagram, as well as Biodiversity Bird Blends, both there and on Facebook. And then if you search Avian Raw on Facebook, that'll come up with my group, Avian Raw Whole Food Nutrition, 21,000 plus members strong.
Including the both of us. So awesome. So all the links are going to be down in the description for you to check out. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss any of the future videos like this. But thank you so much for watching. Take care and see you later.